Unit 3, Lesson 5, Mr. Bowley's English class. Good morning, students. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you decide to tune in. We are going to talk about more poetry today with our poetry journals. And we are in Lesson 3, which is going to begin on page 56. Poem today, Snow Dust by Robert Frost. You read a little bit about him in the biography. Really good poem, very famous, popular work. And the poem we're going to do today introduces us to rhyming, the ABA pattern of rhyming, which is what we usually think of when we think of poetry as rhyming. By the end of this lesson, you will have a deeper understanding, develop deeper comprehension skills by reading the poem, identify and label different rhyming schemes in the poetry. By the end of the lesson, you will have generated a rhyming, word-for-word. You'll have written your own original rhyming poem. This is what you are supposed to do by the end of this one. Remember, each lesson is a full lesson where they're not long lessons. We're just covering from the beginning of the lesson to the end, right to the biography page, to make sure you're getting all of that work done in order to get full credit on this. The poem Robert Frost's Snow Dust, published under the title Dust of Snow as well, presents our first rhyming poem that we are reading in this unit. Okay, some core vocabulary to know. The word rue comes up in the poem, R-U-E. Actually, it's R-U-E-D in the poem. But the word rue means to feel sorry about or regret. Let me read the poem real quick for you, though, so you know. You can see it. It says, "The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued." So for whatever reason, he wasn't really having a great day. And a crow apparently landed on a branch above him, shook some snow down, and it fell on him, which apparently lightened his mood. Might have just been the right thing that it was required in order to give him a moment of, just something different. It's not that bad. Although you would think that having snow drop on your head might make it worse, but maybe it was a moment of a little bit of relief, a little bit of humor, a little bit of moment just to kind of step back. Rhyming, when you see rhyme, that means the words that end in the same sounds or same sound. A rhyming scheme is a pattern of repeated rhyming words in a poem. Okay? So let's see here. This lesson looks at the poetic device of repetition and rhyme. I'll read it again. "The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued." So what action does the speaker describe in the first stanza? You're going to see page 58. This is where you begin answering your questions about the poem. Sometimes we encounter words we don't know. The questions below will help you figure out the meaning of the word rude from the other words in the stanza. You may consult the poem as you answer these questions. Again, they're not called paragraphs. They're called stanzas when they're in poetry. So there's stanza 1 and stanza 2. You can write more than 2 stanzas when you write your own poem, and make sure that you're following the same pattern, ABABA pattern, which we'll talk about. I'll just show you right now. Crow, this is the end of each one. So it's A because it rhymes with snow. And then B rhymes with B. So me and tree rhyme. But you only do that with stanza 1. In stanza 2, you would change the letters to C and D. Because heart and part rhyme, you would say that C And then mood and rude would be D. And you'll get to that here in a minute. Go back to question 1. What happened to the speaker in the first 2 lines of the stanza? The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow. So, there you go. There's your answer there. What does the speaker say was saved? That is in stanza 2, at the end of stanza 2. Okay, we can work together as a group to answer question 3 on the next page. Make it solve the poem as you answer. And you should not look up the word in the glossary dictionary. Of course, I just defined rue for you anyway. But this is to help you kind of figure out what rue means based on what the poem is talking about. The speaker says that at first he rued the day, and you've heard that phrase probably before. You rued the day, you'll regret this day, you will rue the day that you got a bad grade or whatever. You rue the day that you stole some candy you shouldn't have from the store. You will regret that. Eventually, the day is saved by the crow shaking snow onto his head based on the use of the word saved. What do you guess rue means? Okay. Because the day is saved, so it makes you think that rue must mean the opposite. So you have to be saved from that. Okay. All right, then complete 4 and 5. In your own words, describe the change that took place for the speaker. So put it in your own words. Summarize the events of the poem in your own words, which 4 and 5 are pretty much the same. So just go ahead and do those. When you read a poem, now we're on page 60, okay, which is 5.2. When you read a poem with rhyming words, at the end of its lines, it may be following a rhyming scheme or using those rhyming words in a set pattern. Follow the steps below as your teacher explains them in order to identify a poem's rhyme scheme. Okay, so first, review the words that rhyme in the poem. Okay, what words rhyme? You got crow and snow, like I just went over earlier. Heart, part, me, tree, rude, and mood that we just went over. So, although words within each line may sometimes rhyme, in looking for a rhyme scheme, you may consult only the last words of each line. So you should only look for the last words of each line, like I wrote down already, see for you, the last words of each line. Okay? So you look at those. Then you can use a colored pencil, marker, or the highlighters that I have in this classroom, nice orange and yellow, so that works perfect. Or you can use colored pencils to highlight or underline the pairs with their unique color. So you'll do kind of like what I did. You'll highlight with the different colors. You put A and B. Now I should probably have done this with crow. I would have wanted to do crow in blue and snow in blue while doing red, me, and tree. So that gives you kind of an example there of what it's looking for. Because that shows you the rhyming words, the rhyming scheme there, okay? So you'll do that and that nice open space there in number 2. That open space isn't just there because they ran out of things to ask you to do so that you can do it. Now, you can write it out there if you want to in different colors too, or you can just use the poem in the beginning and highlight it there if you're going to highlight or underline. Okay. All right. Now, number 3. Okay. Now assign each colored pair a letter, starting with the letter A and working through the alphabet in order. For example, you underlined the words crow and snow in red. Assign those words to the letter A, like I showed you. Every end word that rhymes with crow will get the letter A. When you get to an end word that does not rhyme with crow, give it the letter B, and so on. Which is why it goes A, B, A, B, and then the second stanza has new words, so you have C and D in the second stanza. So you'll do that on page 61. Page 62 and 63. Are you making your own poems? There's a little biography on the back on page 65 about Robert Frost that I mentioned. He was born in San Francisco in March of 1874, moved to Massachusetts as a young man. He was a teacher and an editor in the local newspaper. Published his first poem, The Butterfly, and several poem volumes later. It's pretty cool. He traveled a lot and he wrote a lot. He won 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry and the Congressional Gold Medal in 1960 and died in 1963. That's a long, good life right there. All right, so pages 62 and 63, you're writing your own poem using the rhyming scheme ABAB, okay? And you can practice with different words that rhyme. We can practice different things that rhyme in different ways. That will help. Like pine, fine, nickel, pickle, ability, fragility, those kinds of things. Just thinking here, because I know I'm kind of going through. We'll give the class different words to rhyme to practice before we have you do this part, but in your poetry journal, there is also assonance, the way the words sound when they go together like that. There's things you learned when you were learning how to read originally back in the lower elementary grades. Similar sounds originating from individual letters, like the long A in change, saved, day. That is an example of assonance, or the repetition of the same vowel sound. So that rhyming words often have similar sounds that combine both vowels and consonants. Those sounds typically are at the end of the rhyming word, so that will help. Different kinds of rhyme schemes exist. Figuring out rhyme schemes is important to understand the structure and the sound of the poem. So, 5.3 again, page 62. In this exercise, you will write your own poem using the ABAB pattern, rhyme scheme. Like Robert Frost, you should make your own poem about something that was surprising or unexpected. Like an apple fell on my head and I had a pencil made of lead. It does not follow the right pattern. Maybe I should just not try to come up with one on the top of my head. That's why you have these questions, to think through it. Think of an event from your life that was surprising or unexpected. Write what was surprising in the space below. Then number 2, what was happening before the surprising event? Were you having a good day? Were you having a bad day? Was it, why, what was going on? Then number 3, what changed because of the surprising event? Were you having a bad day because no one remembered your birthday and then suddenly somebody brought out a cake and threw you a surprise party, that kind of thing. Now, you'll use that information to write a poem with ABAB, rhyme and scheme. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for the rhyming scheme. Remember, you will need 4 rhyming pairs, at least. You may write your own rhymes or use rhyming words your class has discussed. After you finish your poem, reread it, then mark the rhyming scheme by writing the appropriate letters on the side of each word. So you're not rewriting Robert Frost, obviously. You're coming up with your own. And I want to see the rhyming scheme, ABAB pattern. And in the second stanza, you'd have like CD, CD. Any questions? Please let me know. And let me know how these are working out for you. If you're getting good use out of these YouTube videos, if you need me to elaborate more or go over more information, I am more than happy to do so. Thank you.